Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of The Inside on Equinoxe Television. I am Babla Jonathan. 9 months have elapsed since 6 government workers were kidnapped in the Indian division in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. Till today, their whereabouts remains unknown. One of them had been killed. In the meantime, civilians and soldiers continue dying in the crisis in the two English-speaking regions of the country. In the last of such incidents in which soldiers and civilians have been dying, several soldiers were reported dead in Babesing in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. In the meantime, mobilization is going on in the diaspora, in the United States, in Germany, in France, across Europe, and of course this mobilization is going on with the intention of contributing to restoring peace in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, but also across the board. But the question now is, what can the diaspora bring in? What can the diasporans do as far as restoring peace in Cameroon is concerned? We want to look at this in this edition of The Inside. Meet our guest in some few seconds. Dr. Ita Ewane, Professor of Political Science, is joining us from Mauritania. Dr. Ita, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Babila, and so it's a pleasure to be with you.
His Royal Majesty Bihai is joining us from Maryland in the United States of America. Chief Bajon Bihai, welcome.
Thank you very much, our famous, most powerful journalist, Mr. Babila Jonathan.
You're part of the initiative intending to bring change in Cameroon by 2025, notably the restoration of peace in the northwest and southwest and the rest of the country. And you're part of initiatives like this in the United States, bringing diasporans together to put hands on deck for the restoration of peace in Cameroon. Can you tell us what you people think about these incidents occurring in the two English-speaking regions of the country, starting with the 6 government delegates kidnapped by armed men in the Indian division? 9 months have gone down. Their whereabouts remains unknown. One had been killed.
Yes, Mr. Babila, let me start with me. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity you are giving us to air our views as to what we can contribute so we can go back to that heaven of peace that Cameroon used to be before this issue came up. Starting with the issue of Ndien, I think that the government need to engage the traditional rulers over there. If they engage the traditional rulers and the traditional rulers engage the Anglophones leaders, they will come and they will sit down and they will talk, because they know that when you are going to a palace, you are safe. A palace is considered a safe zone. The chief will protect you, the people will protect you, and whatever you will do will be protected. And they will talk. And they will release these people and they will come back and continue to work with us, because they are our brothers. We cannot let them have this situation they're having. Starting with me here, I know a chief here from that area, His Royal Majesty Chief Do Esemutu. I will give him a call and visit him and see if he can help to broker peace in that region, because I know he is an engineer. He has been with the government for a lot of years before retiring, and he is still an engineer here in the United States with the biggest government institution. So I think that he would love peace to return, especially around that Dian area. Thank you.
6 government workers kidnapped, 1 killed, and the others missing till date, 9 months down the lane. If you're getting us from Mauritania, 515, we are with you now. What you're reading as a professor of political science, as a political scientist, what's your reading of this stalemate, of this situation in the Indian division? 6 government workers kidnapped, 9 months down, none of them found, and 1 had already been killed. And government is practically saying nothing. But for the senior division officer of the Indian division, who spoke recently on the issue, expressing hopes that they are still alive.
Mr. Barilla, thank you so much for that very pertinent question. But I'm sorry to say this, but I think we've gotten Cameroonians used to the idea of focusing on consequences and not causes. I think we should begin first of all by asking ourselves a very pertinent question. Why are people kidnapped in Cameroon? Because we've been used to, we never knew this a couple of years back, but for the past 5 years, I think we should not just focus on the 6 delegates who have been kidnapped. There are still many more southern Cameroonians or Cameroonians in captivity. And we should be asking ourselves the question, why are these people being kidnapped? And I think this is not happening just in Cameroon. Cameroonians are not inventing anything. This is something we see in conflicts around the world. And so what we are experiencing in Cameroon right now is just the effects of 5 years of protracted conflict, which include massive human rights violations, destruction of economic and social structure, destruction of social cohesion, and countless deaths that we are experiencing in Cameroon. So the pertinent lesson we can draw from this, or we can deduce from the kidnappings of the 6 delegates, is that the war is still persistent, and efforts by the Yaoundé regime to kind of end the war by military means have not been successful. And so the government needs to look beyond the military option. And that's why some of us in diaspora and some civil society organizations, including church leaders in Cameroon and friends of Cameroon, have been advocating for a political solution to the problem. Yeah, the government has tried with military means to liberate these people. It has not been possible. And what we see in the recent past are more Cameroonians being kidnapped. So, one person has been killed. Nobody knows what has happened to the others. I fear the others might have died as well. So I think it is time for us to engage in meaningful dialogue so we can put an end to kidnappings. So the government needs to make an effort by hearing the voices of peace lovers around the world who have consistently called on this government to look beyond the military option to resolve the ongoing conflict.
When you look at what's been happening in those 2 regions, especially in the northwest region, armed men setting an ambush against soldiers and killing as many as 10, according to information streaming into our newsrooms from the northwest region. When you look at this kind of coordinated attack on the military, what can you say about the evolution of the crisis in those 2 regions?
Yeah, I don't know if that question is addressed to me or to His Royal Highness.
I will be coming back to you in a short while. Chief Bajon Bihar III, what have you been doing? Recently, the Cameroonian ambassador to the United States gave you an award congratulating you for promoting peace in Cameroon. What have you been doing at the level of the diaspora? I know that you people are involved in several initiatives here and there to bring the diasporans together to contribute to the peace process in Cameroon. What have you been doing? What have you done so far? Some technical issues there. We'll be coming back to our guest in a short while. Time for us to go to the newsstands, and we're going to take a look at what the newspapers reported this week, the press review. The Guardian Post and charms displayed on the streets of Bamenda by unknown persons scare the population and trigger mass exodus. The security crisis in the northwest and southwest regions is qualified as the challenge of the century by The Voice, as government says military solution or nothing. Meantime, Newswatch highlights a petition from international religious groups sent to President Paul Biya over the church shootings in Bali, northwest region. According to Le Gideon, President Paul Biya should dismiss unpopular officials hindering the solution to the conflict in the northwest and southwest regions. The Guardian Post counts the gains and losses of the crisis since 2016. With regards to the losses, another edition of the paper exclaims, "Time to rethink strategy." In the Star, the Cameroon Development Corporation CDC General Manager Ngonenje Franklin laments over the consequences of the crisis on the company, which has seen 20 of its workers killed so far, as reported by The Advocate. Eden says that the Minister of Territorial Administration and the Delegate General for National Security are denouncing assault on police officers. An in-depth quotes Minister Atanganji Paul, warning Cameroonians not to mess with the police. The Median reports efforts by the Minister of Territorial Administration to deal with Muslim-Christian violence in Gaoundéré, Adamawa region. The Herald Tribune projects Cameroon's ambassador to the United States honoring Chief Bajon Bihai in Maryland for promoting peace in Cameroon. A question on the top front page of the Post: did Agriculture Minister dupe cocoa farmers with 1.8 billion francs CFA fake tender? The Horizon exclaims, Fon Mukete the fourth, a cocoa's throne not in dispute. Another edition of the paper reports that former Indomitable Lions captain Samuel Eto'o has won the first battle in the move to the presidency of the Cameroon Football Federation, FECAFOOT. Thank you for staying with us, and we're looking at what the diasporans who are mobilizing across America, Germany, France, and the other parts of Europe, and even other continents, and even on the African continent can do as far as restoring peace and normalcy in the northwest and southwest and the rest of Cameroon is a concern. A lot of mobilization going on there, especially in the United States, where there are initiatives being put in place by people like Dr. Nick Santos and His Royal Majesty Chief Bajon Bihai III. And of course, we'll be coming back to our guests who are with us. Earlier, we were talking about the soldiers who are being killed in frightening numbers in those two regions in the last ambush by armed men around Babesing in the northwest region of the country. About 10 soldiers reportedly died in that incident. Now, Dr. Eta Ewane, as a professor of political science, as a political scientist, what's your reading of this kind of coordinated attacks by non-state armed groups in those two regions in which soldiers have been killed?
Yeah, first of all, let me say we regret for every soul that is lost in this conflict. be it on the government side or on the Amazonian side. And like I've always said, we are losing collectively as a people, and every soul that is lost in this conflict is a loss for Cameroon as a nation. And we have to cry for every soul that we lose. But the point is, I am surprised that you are expressing surprise that this conflict has taken this nation. It was all predictable. Now you can look at the various transformations that have taken place from 2016, when people walked through the streets of the southern Cameroons with peace plans, and they were gunned down by the military. They went into self-defense and started using traditional weapons to defend themselves. Now, in the course of time, they have improved in the quality of arsenal that they use in defending themselves. Most of which is, as they put it themselves, most of which is harvested from the military or the soldiers that fall in the battlefield. Every time a soldier dies, it is one gun that is gained by the Amazonian fighters. And if nothing is done to stop this, I say it, and I say it with a lot of certainty, that this conflict will be organized someday. Maybe not in a very distant future from now. We will see this conflict being taken away from the villages, the remote villages in the southern Cameroon, into the bigger metropoles of Douala and Yaoundé. So it is time for us as Cameroonians to do the best that we can to put an end to this conflict, because no one is gaining. If anyone still dreams of a victory and this conflict, then they must be living on a strange planet. And I've asked this question again, Mr. Babila. I think if you remember, I was asking you if anyone can come up and tell us what this victory in a particular conflict will look like. What victory in a war between brothers will look like. What do you brandish as your trophy? The heads of fellow Cameroonians, the heads of people from your own community. So that's the conflict in which we are losing as a people, and so it is time for us to put an end to this. It is time for
Dr. Ita will be coming back to you in a short while. His Royal Majesty Bihari III. Earlier you were talking about what you people are doing there as far as mobilizing to contribute for the restoration of peace in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon is concerned. You are the president of the Traditional Council in the United States. What have you people been doing there? What have you people been putting in place as initiatives to contribute to restore peace back home?
Yes, Mr. Babila Jonathan, thank you very much. I want to start by appealing to our Fund of Funds, our Chief of Chiefs, His Royal Majesty, President Paul Biya, to order our military to exercise restraint, because this thing that has just happened in Bamese is in my own area. It's my own place. Babungo share common boundary with Bamese. And I know that in a war, when one side hit, the other one revenge, and they keep hitting. I'm just pleading, I'm begging, I'm kneeling down for the government to just please exercise restraint and do not return fire for fire, because my own people are going to be dying. Everybody's going to be dying. And these same people who are fighting, there will be nowhere to be found, but there will be innocent people. As for what we have been doing, we had a meeting in the Washington Peace Institute the other day. We are trying to organize ourselves here, all the Cameroon leaders here, including the Amazonian leaders who are here, so we can sit down and start talking, because there's nothing other than dialogue. Nothing other than dialogue. it was a bit delayed because the organization of basic organs was taking place here. And the CBDN section elections just concluded yesterday. So the leaders of the ruling party, the CPDM, the traditional leaders here, the civil society, and the Amazonian leaders, we are calling a meeting, a very powerful meeting, so we can sit in the Washington Peace Institute there, mediated by them, so we can see where we go from there. So we plan something because there's nothing other than peace. There's nothing other than dialogue. And the same way we are saying, we can agree on anything here, but if the government doesn't visa it, it's not going to go through. So we are also calling on the government, because they are going to be part of the talks. We are also calling on them to send their representatives, and that the decision that we reach, please, they can accept. If they do accept the decision, that will be very, very, very good, because right now people keep dying, and we are still going to talk. So if everybody dies, they're still going to talk. So it's better we stop now, and traditional leaders, traditional rulers, chiefs, Fons, kings, Lamidos, back in Cameroon, please engage these talks. Thank you very much.
You and other Cameroonians in the diaspora, including people like Dr. Ningo Santos, putting in place some initiatives, including Diaspora for 2025 Change and Patriots for Peace in Cameroon. What are all these initiatives all about?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know that in order to build a solid house, you have to start from the foundation. And while you are building, you get somewhere that you're going to need plank. You get somewhere you're going to need nails, zinc, iron, rods. You even get to a place that you are going to need mud or just dirt to fill some holes. So that's what we're doing together now. We are trying to put together a house that will solve this problem from the diaspora. And after it has been put together, we will now come, all these groups, no group will be left out, nobody will be left out, and we will talk and we will come out with something. So we're just trying to put together everybody that can come together here in the United States and elsewhere in the world, so we can stop this. We can stop this fighting. We can stop killing our own people, destroying our own property, and go back to the heaven of peace that Cameroon used to be.
You're joining us today from Mauritania, but you're based in Germany, and for the past close to 5 years now, accusing fingers have been pointing to diasporans, some of the diasporans, for masterminding and orchestrating all what has been happening in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And now some of the diasporans are mobilizing to be able to turn the tides. Dr. Ita, what's your take on these initiatives undertaken by Cameroonians in the diaspora in view of restoring peace in the northwest and southwest regions and across the board?
Yeah, Mr. Babila, I want you to permit me to react to some of the comments made by His Royal Highness. Before I come back to the question on what the diaspora has been doing, I regret to tell the His Royal Highness that he, as a traditional leader, I don't know if he has any leverage anymore to be able to broker peace in the northwest and the southwest regions. Because traditional leaders in the northwest and southwest, who were supposedly custodians of our traditions, have become sellers of our traditions. They can no longer be part of the solution. They are part of the problem. Most of all the traditional leaders, most of them in the northwest and southwest, they've lost the credibility. And listening to His Royal Highness and the initiative he's talking about with the people, some of the people he has just mentioned, gives me reason to question their sincerity. You talk about Dr. Nick Santos. This is a man who began as a secessionist, and then out of the blue he became a federalist. And just recently we saw him standing as a candidate for CPDM in the United States. People who are looking for something to put their stomach, and they cannot speak on behalf of the people of Southern Cameroon. We need genuine Southern Cameroonians who hold the cause in their hearts and who can talk on behalf of the people of Southern Cameroon. Now, let me come back to your question on what the diaspora has been doing. Of course, there are always a lot has been done by diaspora communities, and so much criticism has been coming particularly from the government bench because the solutions proposed by the diaspora communities have tended to side more with the opposition and the suffering masses of the Southern Cameroons. Now, I just want to mention two initiatives in which I've been opportune to participate. The first is the Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiations. That has been a genuine initiative to find lasting solutions to the problems in Southern Cameroon or in the Republic of Cameroon. And I was fortunate to have been part of the government's working group that came out with that looked at different scenarios in the case or in the event of a negotiation, try to come up with various or different governance structures that could benefit the people of Southern Cameroon in the course of a negotiation, the event of a negotiation with the Republic of Cameroon. So these are genuine initiatives. They proposed solutions. They came up with a list of recommendations that have been shared with the government of the Republic of Cameroon. The government can exploit some of the recommendations made by this Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation. Also, Mr. Babila, I have shared with you on several occasions recommendations issued by the Cameroon Patriotic Diaspora that I had the opportunity to lead for a number of years. And this group has been working in a very scientific, adopting a very scientific approach in examining the problems in Cameroon and proposing solutions or making recommendations that can be transferred into realizable actions, feasible actions. So these are solutions that have been proposed to the government, and the government can exploit this. But the problem with the regime is, if you do not see things in the lens of that government, you are considered an opponent. You are considered a threat. I don't know if they have the monopoly for patriotism, but what I see is there are devoted, committed Cameroonians, great patriots, out of the national triangle, that are so concerned with the ongoing conflict and that have been proposing real solutions that needs to be exploited by the government.
In a short while, time for us to take some interviews now. Interviews of the week.
Especially difficult for the SGO to lose contact with his immediate collaborator, 6 immediate collaborators. They say, my hope is that they are still alive and that one day we will meet again. Foreseeing the 22nd of June 2021, all communication network in their division has been severed, and at this moment that I talk with you, Indian is in total darkness.
With our pharmacy, it is not really up to date still because of the crisis, drugs cannot come from. So for us to have drugs is a problem. We need portable drinking water in the hospital. And some of our beds too are not good. Some of them are bad. They don't have mattresses. So we need some of those things. Some are mattresses. When our patients sleep, they complain that they have backache.
The difficulties we are facing here in Yaoundé today to send our children to school. That's example one. School fees, we don't have house rent, water bill, everything, and so forth and so forth. And these are the things we are talking that let government to see into that so that it may solve our problems.
Since in the morning it started at 1:30. I was sleeping, but my neighbors wake me up this morning at 4 a.m. I got up this morning, everywhere is water. Hey, my God! I have left Southwest to come and even rest here in Douala. I know that I'm coming to rest. I have realized that the cartel that have come in this Ponkase, oh, is Makepe Misoke Douala. Ponkase is something else. So my children even go to school this morning without brushing their teeth because we left the house without anything. We did not carry anything. We just ran off from the house.
That operations permit us to seize an important stock of non-biodegradable plastics and more than 50,000 liters of fuel. We also seize drugs, some drugs. We can talk about medicine. So we are fighting against illegal products, contraband.
Those plastics are very dangerous for our environment. They are dangerous for our health. We are going to destroy those plastics in ecological manner, in such a way that we can handle it over to those Cameroon company, in such a way that they can produce authorized plastic that everybody can use.
We have information in collaboration with forces on law and order, and we went to the place and seized those people passing with fuel in car. So we went and seized them and dismantled all that network. Today we cashed this total amount of about 12,000 liters of super from Nigeria. If you need fuel, you must go to petrol station and buy your fuel. That one is well controlled. This one is illegal, illicit activity.
It was a very frank, direct and candid conversation. We went through all the issues they face. What I have noted is really the competence and the experience and the expertise of the women and men that are part of this group. It's also their commitment is a clear indication that they value the cooperation between the World Bank and Cameroon, and it's therefore extremely important that we continue to work with them, that we continue to support them so that we can achieve the impact that we would like to see in the country, impact in terms of improving living condition of the people, creating more jobs. Talking about creation of jobs, it's essentially from the private sector initiative that job could be created and protected. Today we are in a very complicated world because of COVID. COVID has in particular impacted on the economy and through the firm, and therefore it's urgent, it's crucial that we find means in order to make sure that those firms and those enterprises will continue so that they can also create or protect the job that exists.
This facility is world class. We should all be proud as Cameroonians for this world class facility. We should all be proud as Africans that Cameroon can, in partnership with our minister, our government, CAF, which is represented by mon frère Veron and mon frère Seydou, who is the president of football in Cameroon, that come January, when the AFCON tournament is taking place here, and the rest of Africa will be here with us in Cameroon, and the rest of the world will be with us here in Cameroon. And we are confident that together, CAF, our government, our minister, president, prime minister, football represented by mon frère Seydou, and African football, we will host an event that will make us proud. And the quality of football that will be displayed here will show that we can produce players in Africa that can win the highest awards competitions in Africa, but also that can win the World Cups, because that's part of our ambition. Cameroon has the quality, and there are other African countries, and we support them.
Those were interviews of the week. Thank you for staying with us. His Royal Majesty Bajon Bihai III, President of the Royal Council in the United States of America, as a traditional leader, a custodian of the people's cultures, what will you tell all the sons and daughters of the northwest and southwest regions of the country at this point in time with regards to the way out of the crisis, and also to the government?
Thank you very much. I will be very brief. I think that at this point, we'll be fighting for 4 years. We'll be fighting for 4 years. And if we'll be fighting for 4 years and nothing is being achieved, we have to sit down and talk. I have a very powerful suggestion to give. And the suggestion I want to give, if both sides accept the suggestion, I believe that we will be okay, and peace will return. What am I suggesting? I'm suggesting that, okay, the Ambazonia, they are already used to their names. They are already used to their flag. They are already used to their anthem. They like it. They might never leave it. Okay, but now, if the government find a way where they can continue to use their anthem, their flag, their everything, and the name Amazonia, I think that will bring an end to this war right away. Ask me how. If we can have a way that the Cameroon government can see into it that we have a state of Amazonia, so that like the state of Maryland, where they have their anthem, they have their flag, they have their motto, they have their everything. They have their police force, they have their, the governor of Maryland is a Republican. Meanwhile, Maryland is dominantly 90% Democratic. But they voted the
Thank you, His Royal Majesty. I believe your proposal has been heard. Now, Dr. Itaiwane, very quickly, we are rounding up. What His Royal Majesty is saying, is it possible? Is it a possible way out?
Well, that's his opinion. I don't want to comment on that. He has a right to his opinion. My advice to the Ambazonians is that they should embrace dialogue, and they should prepare for dialogue, because eventually dialogue is going to come. While on the other side, I am advising the government that the peace they think they are enjoying right now is elusive, and they should embark on meaningful initiatives to engage on dialogue, because dialogue is a critical instrument in peacemaking. Of course, I am not saying dialogue is an end in itself, but it will enable the larger, it will enable them to address some of the larger scale structural causes of the ongoing conflict. So the government needs to understand that they will not be able to win this by military means, and they have no other choice than to embark on dialogue. So they should do that today to prevent further losses of lives, because without dialogue, this war will go on for the next 30 years.
A professor of political science at the Karlshochschule International University in Germany, His Royal Majesty Chief Bajon Bihai III, joining us from Maryland. Thanks for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this edition of The Inside. Thank you for staying with us. The news will be coming up in a short while. Have a nice time in the company of our programs. Goodbye.